You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings. But now I shine with your reflection on me. I'm getting back up on my feet. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. Yes, I'm the winner, yeah. 'Cause I'm the winner, yes. Am I awake or am I dreaming? So far gone, I won't look back. And when I move, there ain't no stopping me. You're pushing me up to the top. I saw the clouds looking angry, but then the sky reached my mind.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is Tuesday. Welcome to the Plan to Prosper show. And thank you so very much for what? Tuning in to us today. Taking time out of your day to join us 7 p.m. Eastern Time, because each Tuesday we are here working with entrepreneurs, business owners, our 9 to 5. You're not quite ready to give up that 9 to 5, but you're doing some hustling on the side. Startups, dreamers, our nonprofits, our community, and our faith base. We are here to work with you to help you grow and thrive in the Plan to Prosper show. It's been almost 2 years that we have been on the show. Great producer, Mark Lee, that's really helping us develop the tools that we need and bringing great content to you. One of the things that Mark said yesterday on the show, and it just keep ringing in my ear, it is, you can have the best technology, great lighting, great sound system, but if your content does not relate to everyday people that's going through something, all of that great lighting is a waste of money. And so that had me thinking, when we come to you, is the content that we are bringing making a difference in your life? And that is why we have a 12-week Getting Past Stuck. Because every week we have something that's going to help you move to the next level or your greatness. So tonight we're going to be talking about designing your best life. Have you ever thought about you design what your best life, that you're not including everybody else, but you're thinking about what is it that I want? And then unleashing the power to create your own path. And you can have a family, a career, a business, a community environment, friends. You can have all of that. But is that who you are? So tonight's guest is going to help us define and help you start thinking and writing and designing your purpose in your best life. And tonight we have a Xavier Zabel with Health Connect One and the president of Zeal of Xander. Zay, please come to our platform. Hey Zay, how you doing?
Hello, how are you?
You look really spiffy. You just say like you have something on your mind that you're gonna tell us.
This is my self-care skin day with a clean wash and some Vaseline. So
But but you're designing your best life.
I am definitely designing my best life. So I certainly appreciate you for having me here today to talk to your audience.
So the question I'm going to ask you is this here. Tell us about yourself and are you living your best life? And if not, what are some of the things that we could do to live our best life and to help you live your best life?
I think that's a really good question. And when people ask me to tell them about myself, tell them who I am, I think the response changes every single time because I become a new person every single day. Um, and so the Zay that was last week or last month or last year or 5 years ago is not the Zay that is currently today. And so today, I am a woman that has closed a chapter, but the book is still open, right? And so for me, what that looks like is, taking a journey throughout life and navigating to positioning and not positions.
Okay.
And so for me, I built a life after losing my son. So I am the executive director of Zilla Xander. Will be 5 years old in July 25th to be exact. And so I navigated my life through working in the Black maternal health space because what I recognize being from Alabama, being from the South, is that people were not talking about babies that were dying, and people were not talking about them losing babies. I'm having conversations so that you'll know just the history of infertility or the history of miscarriage or stillbirth or preterm labor that is within the family. This was something that was very, very hush hush because we are looked at as women should be modest and really not talk about reproduction matters. If you lose a baby, you go back to work. Right within a couple days, you have your DNC, you go back to work, or you bury your baby, you go back to work. Nothing stops, and so I felt like there was a gap in
Mhm.
that because we did not have an opportunity to navigate through healing. Black people are not good at identifying when they are broken. They are not good at implementing practices to help them heal. What we are superb at is operating at low fuel, right? We are good. And I was telling somebody I was so unhappy in a job, and they were like, "Well, when you're not happy at a job, they don't get the best work from you." That is the curse of a Black woman. You still gonna get good work, but we're gonna be sick of it, right? Like you are always gonna get really good work, but we're just gonna be sick of. We're gonna talk about you in our group chat. You gonna be a hot mess express. And right, and so, but we did not implement. We don't implement that self-care. And so what I knew, like during the pandemic, right after I lost Xander, women just started dying like at unexplainable rates because there was not a support there. They did not have a doula there. They did not have their partner there. People were outside in the parking lot waiting for babies to be born. And I decided to become a doula then. So I've been a doula for quite some time, but I just got another certification through Health Connect One as a certified community-based doula. And so I really have a passion for not only the Black maternal health space, but also making sure that everybody that walks into that hospital that's Black, including the mom, the dad, and the baby, that everybody walks out, at the same time. And so what I decided when it came to my best life is
Mhm.
that I had to operate in a capacity that I knew what was best for me and not the suggestion of other people.
Okay.
Because other people see great things in you, right? Like they see, oh, listen, I was talking young, I was walking young. So everybody said I was supposed to be a lawyer. But that was not right for me. And so I had to identify what my vision was for myself as a complete and whole person. And how could I get to that? and not feel bad about disappointing somebody else at the expense of sacrificing me.
I am so glad. You know, for some reason, my lighting is failing. So let us try to fix it. But go ahead and continue. I didn't realize my light has went out dead. So you
I
go
can
ahead.
kind of see you, but I see that a little light on the side. So we can still see you cute.
I,
Um,
I don't know what happened. You know what? Mark told me that it's not about the lighting, it's about the content. And I'm just like, what in the world happened to the light? And I was looking good, and then bam, now I'm not. So you continue because we're gonna fix this lighting. So I'm gonna
okay.
go off, but I want you to answer this. What is non-negotiable for you while I fix
Oh,
this
that
light?
is a okay. Y'all, first of all, let me explain to you guys how me and Miss Sharon met. So Miss Sharon is my mentor. Miss Sharon has been my mentor for many years, and after I met my son, I think that navigating through Raleigh, it was a place that I had never been. I moved, was relocated there, and decided I am going to go to 5 networking events a week. So I was on Eventbrite, just trying to locate and find places that I could go, right? And so one day I went to this networking event, and this lady walked up to me, and she was like, "What is your business?" Right? Like, what is your business? And she's just talking. And I explained to her what my business was. And she was like, "You're gonna be my new best friend." And I'm like, okay. So we just started going throughout Raleigh, just going throughout, doing whatever. And that is, our story and how we met. And so what I recognized during that time is she told me, "I'm your mentor, but you're my coach." And so we were able to just come, like we would come together and do these powwows and just produce great work together. Um, and I appreciated that because that is definitely something that I needed during that time, because for me, I needed a distraction. Um, and she came really at the appropriate time. And so what I learned through life when it came to just being in that space, being in Raleigh, um, operating as an entrepreneur of a nonprofit, because I had been a business coach and had been coaching entrepreneurs. Um, and the one thing that I recognized is that entrepreneurs would dive into situations and then they would compromise. And so for me, that became setting your non-negotiables became very was a priority, because sometimes we will allow for people to talk us out of a great situation, or a great opportunity. And so for me, setting non-negotiables look like setting boundaries and not allowing for people to continuously disrespect them. So if we're going to say in business, my non-negotiable is, if I work with you and I invoice you and you don't pay me, I'm never working with you again, even if you satisfy that. Because what we know is, guess what? You don't pay people. So if you don't pay people, that's a non-negotiable for me. If you do not pay me for my service, that is a non-negotiable. Another non-negotiable could be, you are working with someone and you are consistently trying to coach them and really just give them insight and instruction and direction, and they never take that. They are resistant, and they just will not heed to the direction that you're giving them. And so that becomes a client that is very emotionally exhausting, and that may be your non-negotiable. So, for me, non-negotiables are boundaries that are implemented in my life, my personal life, my professional life, my recreational life, that I do not allow for people to cross. When they do cross it, I believe them when they show me who they are. And I also, my motto is, I do not allow for people's children to play in my face. And so that my non-negotiable is, you will not play with my time. You will not play with my expertise and my gifting. And so my non-negotiables are those things, and I think that we all need to implement those.
I am glad you said that because when you're trying to build your best life, you have to really think about what's best for you and not for the next person. Too
Yep.
often, we are always thinking about the other people, what they may think, what they may say. And it goes back when I did my introduction, is what Mark was saying about we come on camera and we have bad lighting, bad this, things don't work good, and we start feeling bad because we think about what other people are thinking about. But
Mm-hmm.
guess what? I have watched on news whenever they was talking, they couldn't get something out, and someone blank off, or and we accept that.
Mm-hmm.
But we find criticism on people, um, everyday people that's doing something.
Yeah. But
But
you know what
we
I found in my life is that there's power in the pivot, right? And I think that the best decisions that I have ever made in my life is when something changed and I had to restructure where I was going. I think that the best experiences that I've ever had was in the detour. And so um we have to operate in a place where we understand that we give somebody grace. Prime example, I ran across a post on Facebook that I really felt was about me, right? I always say, as a doula, I catch babies. Do we physically catch babies? Absolutely, we don't. We just don't catch babies, right? We don't catch them. I mean, if nobody else is in the room and a baby is coming, then we gonna catch the baby, right?
right,
But for me, catching a baby is like more. We catch so much stuff. We catch. Listen, I have caught mamas running across the bed. I have caught vomit, poop. I have caught everything in the delivery room. And so, when we even talk about the expression, how someone says, you caught feelings, right? And so
right,
I feel like when it comes to being a doula, catching a baby is just like catching feelings. Like we want to operate in a capacity where we support you and put action and effort
mhm,
into all the things that you said that you wanted your birthing experience to look like. So um I I don't think that I felt some type of way, but I did recognize. I did not recognize that there was a big deal until
right,
someone had went to my LinkedIn page. They viewed my page, saw that I had got a certification, and I said that I love catching babies. And then I saw on Facebook, like, if you have gone through a training and they teach you that you doulas catch babies, you need to go to another training. So I knew that this post was generate.
but the thing is, why would somebody literally think that? It tells you they are not educated.
And so I was just I thought it was really funny, and then I started thinking about how you can get a degree from Harvard and you have a comma instead of a period, right? And they won't congratulate you on it. I feel like at least congratulate me, then talk about me, like do at least do that, acknowledge that. And so what we have to also do is I feel like we have to hold people accountable, right, for how we conduct ourselves. Everybody is entitled to their opinion, but I think that when you work closely in a space, that it's okay to say, I want to ask you about something that you posted. Do you really believe that? And then there would have been an explanation that could have been an open forum for discussion or conversation. And so I think that as women, what I have learned, and we have been navigated as Black women to cleave to Black women, and what we also recognize is that some Black women are not welcoming.
But what you just said is sometimes, besides that ask, how ask me what I mean by catching babies. Why go? And then you could have said, then you could have elaborated, because
Yeah,
it's a frame, and you're right. Sometimes Black women, sometimes we could be our worst person,
critic.
credit to each other,
Hmm.
and sometimes I'm just saying no. To the foolishness, so you won't be able to live your best life. So that you start trying to live your best life, you focus, you doing it, and then bam, you got all this criticism, and then you have to say to yourself, what type of relationship I want to have with this person, or do I even have
Right.
a relationship with this person,
Yeah.
or how
Or should I
internalize
continue
it they
the
feel.
relationship? Yeah.
Oh, I
I
like
think
that,
that's
or should
important.
I continue? Hmm. I like
That's
that.
important. Sometimes we get handcuffed to history because we know somebody or we have similarities in some areas, and what we have to understand is that these people do not feed us in a certain way, and that comes with anything. I have gotten to a place, for me, living my best life looks like not my peace is non-negotiable, right? So if it costs me my peace, it is way too expensive
It's way
for
too
me.
expensive.
And so, and I was laughing at my mother because she was always asking me, well, why do you do this? I said, because I can. And she was like, like, ugh. And I was like, sometimes you need to get into in a space because you do stuff because you can.
And stop caring about what somebody else doing, because probably
Yeah.
they're not feeding into your soul, your spirit. They're
They're
not
not buying your
buying
products.
good, they're not buying your products. They're not helping develop your business. And
Mm-mm.
you spend so much time feeding to them. And so often you have to say, as Mark Lee tell us, say no. Just say
I mean
no.
it.
And
And it's a
maybe
complete sentence.
it's two letters, it's a period to it, and move on.
Yep.
People are in your life for a season. That season could be just one moment,
Yeah.
and you need to let it go. We keep
Absolutely.
holding on to people. We always want to know why we don't have our best life, why we can't design our best life. We holding on to people.
Yeah. And it's
We-
dangerous to do that.
It's the, and so someone said, well, I'm married, I have children. And so we started putting all these other folks before we did. Okay, you're married, got children. And by the time you finish, you have a list of people. So
Yeah.
one of the exercise I do with some of my clients, and I want to help them design their best life, and you can give us some feedback on. I give them some index cards, and I say, write down all the stuff in your life, and then organize them. And you know what I found out? 80% of them put themselves as the last card. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're last, how do you help all of these other people that you put first?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just,
Mm-hmm.
so I have them to stand back and say, look at this. And nobody never had them to look at their self,
Yeah.
really look at you. And you have decided that you're going to be last. So are you living your best life? Are you creating all the path that you want? No, because you put you last.
Yeah, and first, and you don't even know what your life is. You haven't even designed it that way. I did I used to do this facilitation, and it's called "There's a Crisis with My Identity," right?
Right.
And so when I was doing that, one of the things that I did was I said, write down if all the things that you are, just like you, like all the
Mhm.
things that you are. And so what you'll see is mom, I'm black, I'm a woman, I'm educated, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, and this. And so then I started to say, anything that has to do with education, take it away. Anything that has to do with a role, like I am a director, take that away. You know,
Mhm.
anything that has to do with your race, your religion, take that away. What are you left with? And guess what happens? People are left with nothing. People are absolutely left with nothing. And so, what I knew for me is the reason that I survived, that I survived when my son died was that I knew who Zay was. And it wasn't that she was educated. It wasn't that I was black. It was not that I was a woman. It was because I had experienced life in a certain way that I was not afraid. What is Zay? Zay is a woman that can pivot. Zay is a woman that is not afraid. Zay is a woman that can move scared, right? Um, and so I think that, just knowing who I am, the knowing that I am strong, that I am well deserving, that I am equipped, that I am able, that I am a strategic thinker, those things were so important to the makeup of me. And and because I knew those things, I could depend on utilizing that skill set and attributes to navigate myself straight out of a bottomless pit.
I'm glad you said this. Too often people don't know how to navigate when they're scared and afraid. So
Yeah.
they get stuck. And so that's what the 12 weeks is about, is stop being damn it stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
And quit being complacent in that.
it's okay to feel it, because whether you're in business, whether you're a career person, it's okay. But what is not okay if you just stay there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
For you to pitch your tent.
yeah, too often we're like, well, this is the best I could do. No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody told you that. Someone told you as a child and through your life or jobs or stuff. Someone told you that you was only worth $4,000 a month.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Somebody told you that. So you got your job. They pay, and you're like, oh, I got. But then you say, I would like to have all these other things, but you have already blocked out. all your opportunities. What you just described, that you're the teacher thinker. You have taken that away from. So
Yeah.
some things that we can help people start thinking about how to design their best life. Given some of the things that your challenges that you have been through life, and you say, "No, I'm a teacher thinker." This happened to me, but I'm gonna go through it with fear and purpose.
Hmm. And there's nothing wrong with being scared. Like, I made some of the best decisions moving because I was scared. I have lived in different states, did not know anybody. My most recent was in Pittsburgh. I'm going to tell you something. Not one of my favorite places to live. Did I meet great people? Absolutely. The snow was terrible. I was just like, oh Lord, I cannot. This is this is weird, right? Um, and so, my journey in Pittsburgh, has definitely come to a close. And I think that what I learned early was not being afraid to lose a job. When I say I have it, do you know, like, people are crippled when they get a termination letter? I am not. I'm like, okay, well, thank you. We just appreciate it. On to the next thing. And what I also know is that you have a different subset of people, right? So you have some of those people that you just like, what's going on? Oh, girl, nothing. I got terminated from a job. Really? Okay, so what's next? Like, you have those people, and then
Uh-huh.
you have those people that's like, well, how are you? Like, I am wonderful. I am absolutely
Not
great.
only have I been terminated, but I'm on vacation down here, having my best time of my life, and
Listen,
you're not looking for another job. Not at the moment. No, I have to pivot and stay still for a moment. I'm
yeah,
not
and
rushing to find the
you
next
also have to
thing.
go through and do an audit of your life, and you have to do an audit of what did I learn in this situation, so that I will not carry the residue of a bad experience, or resentment to another place. Like, you have to be able, in the South we say you got to be able to dust your shoes off, right? You got to be able to get the dust off your shoes so that you won't track that into the next portion of your life. For me, every time I end a chapter, I have the best time being homeless. Can I tell you, I have had the best time not living at a house. I go and I experience. I stay with people. They ask me to come and visit them. I go and visit countries, and I do those things. And I do those things because what I recognize is, in the United States, we do not think like people in Costa Rica, or, even though Puerto Rico is a part of the United States, we don't think like them. We don't think like people that live in Mexico. Like, they think so much freer, and we are so bound by the hustle and the bustle of getting from one place to the next that we don't really even take enough time to recognize that we believe that self-care is self-maintenance. I don't think that self-care is going and me getting a pedicure and getting my nails done. I think that self-care for me is relaxing, taking a step back, doing an audit of my life, and also talking to my therapist. We do not do that enough.
And
We just
there's a
don't.
question they have for you when they found out you from Alabama. They said, "What is the biggest misconception people have about people in Alabama?"
That we are ignorant. And let me say, so I remember one time this lady called me a country bumpkin, and I was immediately thinking that Alabama has the most HBCUs in the United States. Like, and the thing about people being from the South, I noticed that when I go to Midwest, when I go up north, and specifically when I was in Pittsburgh, people were just like, your voice sounds like a hug. And I was like, okay, well, all right. Like, and then the very next thing was, I bet you can fry some chicken. Like, this was like, this is, what they think, right? And so I was like, well, I can fry chicken, and, I'm really authentic. And what I noticed is that people were very intrigued to see that what I presented myself as is who I was, right? I was I walked around, the job that I had at the time, I met people, I sat down at their desk, I ate their candy, I shared snacks with them, I asked them how their day was, and they were very, they embraced me very warmly, and that's the same as people in the community as well. But what I also believe, that there is a different mindset when someone comes from the South, because people in other areas may believe that we operate in a slow capacity. But what I had to learn about, the reason that Alabama has the most private and public HBCUs is because we were raised from the grit. This is
Right.
still very much so the antebellum South. This is still very much so racist. There are some people that still believe that, and we respect racism down here, because I know that you don't like me. See, we don't hide. They don't hide it here, right? So I know that you feel a certain type of way because I talk the way that I do. I'm unapologetic about being who I am. Um, and so when we did not have it, we built it. And the best person that you can have in your corner is a person from Alabama, because we know what it looks like to walk in a place and not be welcome. We know what it looks like to not have the resources that we need. And so the alternate to that is to build it. And that's what we do. We are built from the grid. There is nothing other nothing else that I can say to describe that.
I'm glad you said, which is true. Knowing this beautiful, beautiful soul for so long, and I always tell, I said, you know what, you the daughter I did not have. I have three, so now I got four, and I'm adopting another, which is to me, because that'd be five, and I have somebody that says, but it's because being real and authentic who you are, and that bothers people when
Yeah, it makes people very uncomfortable.
and authentic and you have bright ideas, people will try to suppress you. They will team up, have their meetings on they are try everything that keep you down. And you know
Hmm.
what? You have to decide, do I want to play that game, or do I want
Hmm.
to go over here and continue being the best of me and leave them over there playing that dumb game that they play?
Yeah,
Play it in their lives, they play it in their business, they play it at work. And when you look at and see what their life is about,
yeah,
it is so small that you
yeah,
need to remove yourself from playing those crazy games with someone, because one time you get so caught up. Just being your authentic self. And if
yeah,
that group don't accept you for that, then you haven't found your tribe yet.
yeah, and that's okay.
Designing your best life and say, oh, that didn't work. Let me
Yeah,
go over here. It doesn't mean that it's you. It's we gotta understand. Sometimes it's just other people
yeah, and sometimes you're just out of pocket.
out of pocket.
Right, and like even though you try to come in and you try to do something, and I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I said, you know what I notice about Black people is that we don't change our clothes during the season. Like we don't be like, a lot of us just be like, okay, we're gonna put everything in the closet, right? Like everything's just in the closet. But when it gets cold, I'm gonna grab this cardigan, I'm gonna grab this sweater, I'm gonna do whatever. We don't go in, take out this entire wardrobe, put a winter wardrobe, put a fall wardrobe, put a summer. Like those are things that, like, I know that I didn't do, but I liked my clothes to be color coordinated
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And I was thinking, this is how we operate in life. We do not recognize that there is a shift in the season. And
Mhm.
so we have to be able to identify if you were in a situation or
Mhm.
if you were in a season. And so a season you can't pray your way out of. You just gonna have to weather through it. A situation is something that you can shift and you can change. And so what we have done in this life is we have allowed people to go through the other seasons with us, and their time has expired.
And we holding on to them.
And you holding on to somebody that means you no good, and that
Mhm.
cannot service you in the place that you are in. And so what I had to learn is the art of release. And it does not mean that we beefing. Like, girl, I ain't beefing with you. Just okay, you just not in this, you're not in this season.
Mhm.
And that is okay, because if there is ever a time one that I can help you, I'm gonna do it. But it does not mean that you are on this journey with me, and that is perfectly fine. And we don't even have to be at odds. And I think that people really have to understand, like, when you are a mature woman, you are able to recognize when a recalibration needs to take place.
Right.
Maybe you don't feed me in this area anymore, but you can serve me in a whole different area. So how can you do that? How can we still work through this? How can we still navigate with being cordial, but you are not my company anymore?
Right. And other thing, and what is the lesson that you'll learn? Sometimes we miss the lesson.
Yeah, you
We
can never
we
miss the
miss it.
lesson.
We're like, okay, this person was in my life for a season, but what was the lesson that I learned? I
Yeah,
was in
it's too
your life
expensive to
for a
miss it.
season. What was the lesson that I walked away from? And it
Hmm.
has to be that you was in there, you walked away, and you learned something that is better than where you are at the moment. And too often, like you said, we hold on, and we don't even know why we hold on. I think maybe hold on for maybe. self-satisfaction because we think we got one up on them and they beneath us, so this will give us one up. But it's not. It
No,
really isn't.
no.
When you are not truthful to your own self, you are now um living someone else's dream, and
Yeah.
it's not your dream.
Yeah, and it's like when you carry somebody through life that does not serve you, it's like walking around with a bomb waiting for it to explode and you don't know what the time is, right? It could just happen at any second. um and that's a disservice to you, and that's also a disservice to the person that you keep bringing along for the journey, because they are not made for that portion of that journey. They're not made for that walk. They don't even have the mental capacity or the bandwidth to understand what you're going through, and so you have introduced them to something that they were never designed to walk through with you.
Mhm.
um and you got to be responsible for that. And so I always believe in doing an audit of myself, and I also believe in self accountability. That's why I'm able to live the best life that I can, because when I think about the relationships that I've had in the past with people, I think about what could I have done to be a better friend, to be a better fiance, to be a better partner, to be a better daughter, to be a better sister. Like, what is it that I could have done? And then be okay with having a conversation with those people and say, listen, I understand that we're not in a good place right now, and I want to let you know that I apologize for not supporting you when you needed that. I apologize for not seeing you as the person that you are and having an expectation for you to be something that you can never be with me. And so just being there, because we don't have a level of self accountability. You need to determine whether or not you're gonna be the victim all of your life, or if you're gonna be the villain that you are. Like, sometimes your hands ain't clean, girl. Like, you got to take that accountability. So you're gonna be victim, villain, or victor. Which one are you gonna live in? You have to choose that.
I know, and I'm glad you said about accountability. During our 12 weeks, getting past stuff, one of them coming up next week is about accountability. And for me, when I find myself, I always say, I'm account. There's three words that I can always snap back out of a situation: accountability, commitment, living the lifestyle I desire. If I find myself drifting into some craziness, I could just say those three words: accountability, commitment, the lifestyle. And see, like, that just like snap me back and say, why are you over there? You, there's no accountability and there's no lifestyle you desire. We will allow people to suck us in, and we have nothing put in place to bring us back. So I want to encourage people to find some words, something that snap you back to where you need to be at, and being authentic.
Mm-hmm.
I think why Oprah and Tyra Perry and Gail and so many other people have been really successful is because they're authentic. Because they show, oh, I can be professional, but I can also let you know this is it right here, right
Mm-hmm.
now, period. And so we try to not be authentic. We try to be somebody that we aren't. We try to say, let's be professional in all our meet. Sometimes, you know what, I don't want to be professional.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the reason why, it doesn't call for it right there.
Yeah. Just being able to navigate and understand what needs to be done at the time. I think even when it comes to, um, sometimes it's appropriate to be the victim, right? Because sometimes you are the victim to some horrible mistreatment. But
Uh-huh.
what you cannot do is you cannot stay in a victim mentality,
Hmm.
right? You can't live in that space.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think so, and I also have learned that having a victim mentality is very comfortable. Like, you don't have to think about anything when you're a victim. Like, you sometimes you get into a place, right? Where you are allowing people to control your movement, control what you say, control and navigate you to certain things, because you allow for them to feed you certain things, right?
Hmm.
And so, what a victim mentality does for you is that it erases everything that you know about yourself. You know yourself to be strong. You know yourself to be capable. You know yourself to be equipped to handle certain things. And then you start to wear the you start to wear the costume
Mhm.
of a character that you have to portray.
Right.
And it becomes a little bit easier than the resistance, because a lot of people do not like controversy. They don't like having hard conversations. They don't like those things.
Mhm.
I'm a person that I love controversy.
Mhm.
Like, I'm okay with it. Let's get it. We gonna talk. You ain't gonna talk to me crazy, but we're gonna talk about it, right? Like, it's a couple things you're not gonna do, and you ain't gonna talk to me silly. Um, so and so I had to, I had to really operate in knowing when people were trying to dress me in a victim mentality costume, like
Yes.
when they were trying to, deflate me. And so when they were trying to break me down because I was a little bit too strong, or I was a little bit too boisterous, and I was a little bit too loud and a little bit too certain, and that made people feel uncomfortable. And so because I had confidence in myself, that's how people make you a victim. They strip your confidence and then they isolate you from people that can feed you, right? And so,
Yes.
and that's what happens when it comes to going, operating outside of your season. When you have people that are outside of season, they start to break you down. They start peel those layers of confidence back, and they break you down so that then they can start rebuilding you, and your foundation is not good. And so that's what happens when you allow for people to attach themselves to you, and they were not appointed to be with you during that time. So
Mhm.
that is, very, very, very important to identify when somebody is trying to break you down so that they can mold you into what they need you to be, so that they can manipulate you.
I'm glad you said about that. And Mark also talked about the victim mentality. I was having a conversation with someone about it's okay to be selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with this. And I told you this, there's two different ways about being selfish. Okay. There's nothing wrong with being selfish when it comes down to your time, your talent, your resources,
Your mental health.
your mental health. I mean, especially when you're talking about being a victim of something. So be selfish with that. But then on the other hand, it's that other selfishness that you don't want to be a part of. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think people don't understand that it's two types of that. It's okay to be selfish with certain things in your life because it's nothing. Because if you don't, people will break you down and control who you are, and you
Yeah.
become who they are, and now you're a victim. And then what you got to do now is try to figure out how do I pull myself out of that hole,
Yeah.
out out of that victim hole. And so let's leave the audience with some tools of things that they can do to design the best life for them. Because you have really given some great things, and I have written down some. So when we come back on next Tuesday, we're going to start talking about accountability. It
Mm.
is helping our audience realize they can have the best life. There's
Mm-hmm.
no shortage of money out there. There's no shortage of jobs and no shortage of money. So we need to stop letting people box us in to make us think there's a shortage of it.
Yeah.
It's not. It is what are you willing to do? What are you willing to change to get there? And who is going to be your support team and lead these other people with their tribe because they don't belong to your tribe.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some
Um,
things you do?
I think that for me, people have sometimes when it comes to personal accountability, and personal vision, they have no vision of what their life would be outside of being a mom or a wife. And so I always tell people, what happens when your husband dies? What happens when, like me, when your child dies? Like, what happens then? And so if you could wake up and do exactly what you wanted, what would that be? Like, those are questions. What would that be? And
Mm,
so, and I had to sit with myself and I had to determine that. And then I know that, people, when if we think biblically, write the vision and make it plain, right?
mhm.
I have heard this my entire life. And I was thinking, but what happens when I write the vision and make it plain? What happens after that? Because see, you just told me to write the vision and make it plain. So what do I need to do with that? And so I think that people get stuck with writing their vision. Now we're gonna have, remember years ago, I told you and Tamika, hey, bring all of y'all notebooks and come over to my I had just took these people office space over. This at this point it was my office, okay? I had taken it over and we collectively we had almost like 50, 60, 70 notebooks of notes and things that were still relevant. So we are writing the vision and then we are putting it to sleep. So what I'm gonna task everybody to do, go back and look at some of your notebooks, see what you from years ago, what did you want, what did you desire, what did you want your life to look like, and then you're going to bring those together, you're going to compact those, and you're going to make a simple vision statement, and then what you're going to do then is set goals to it, and then once you set your goals to it, you're going to roadmap it. So there has to be, you have where you want to go, your destination is this great life, but where, how are you going to get there? Is it necessary for you to take a train? Look, I'm like the cat in the hat. Are we gonna take a boat? We gonna take a train? We gonna take a plane? We gonna take a what are we gonna do?
Uh-huh.
How are you gonna get to that? And sometimes your best life does not require money. It does not require money. Sometimes it just requires you to open your mouth and be firm in what you're. Because what happens when somebody comes to you and say, "If you could have anything, I could give it to you. What would it be?" And you stuck there looking crazy because you do not know what you want to be or how your life would be if you could live how you wanted to live. And
Oh
so
my
you really
goodness.
need to think about that. Like,
Mhm.
how am I going to roadmap to my best life? What is my best life? Hell, what is the best version of me? Because sometimes we
Why you
operate
still
mediocre at
writing
best.
goals? Yeah, why you still sitting writing goals, writing goals? Go to them journals and get one of them goals that you read
Get
written
them.
over
Just
again. Why
hit
you
it.
still writing them? I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, tell us
Stop
about that.
writing.
Because they need this. We have a few
Yeah.
more minutes.
So I would definitely say, one, identify what your best life looks like. And that's and so then so when you identify what your best life looks like, because what you're gonna do first is write down something that's pretty and that's cute. Right? You're gonna write down, I would love to visit Rome or something. You're gonna say
Uh-huh.
something. But then you need to write down really what it is and what your best life may look like. Is not arguing every day with the person that been married to for 20 years. Are you capable of not arguing with me every day, Walter? Are you capable of not arguing with me every day? Maybe it means that I'm gonna have to step back from a relationship with somebody, and that will give me freedom and opportunity. Maybe that looks like me cashing in my 401k and taking a year and doing whatever. Like, if your dream and your vision do not scare you, it is not small enough. It's not big enough. I mean, it's way too small. So you have to do something. You need to write your vision, and then on the other side of that paper, write the vision that make you scared. You're gonna find something in the middle. Yeah, right. You're gonna find something in the middle. And then I think the other part of that is you gotta understand what relationship looks like. And I think so, and I always say there are three levels of relationship. There is your community, there is your village, and there is your tribe.
Right.
Right? Your tribe speaks your language even when you don't speak it.
Right.
Your tribe, no, my tribe were the people I was like, hey, listen, I got terminated. They're like, what? Yeah, oh, girl, this is really gonna be good. Like, I cannot wait to see what happens after this. Like, every time a chapter closes, you become a whole nother beast. So I'm ready for it, right? So you have that group of people. Then you have the village people that's like, okay, well, you okay? All right. So what are you gonna do next? Then you have community people that are just like, Lord, well, I may know somebody that you can get a job. So it's so many different responses, and you got to know who to lean on, right?
Mhm.
When you may have at the onset of news, you need those people that's going to congratulate you and celebrate you in something that your community may see detrimental, because they don't see beyond the fact that they're not getting a direct deposit every 2 weeks or a month, because they're so dependent on that. Your
Mhm.
tribe knows that, hey, you finna shake and bake. I ain't no telling how much. I told the Lord I need $7,000. Look, 3 days later, okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Yep, that's right.
Because that's how it works. That's how you work. You operate in your wheelhouse, your bandwidth. You operate in your certainty. You operate very firm and unapologetic. And then you also operate by not letting anybody come in from the outside and change the trajectory of where you're trying to go. What does that mean? Stay in your tribe when you are in a place that is critical. Don't lean on your village because they talking crazy. Lean
Don't
on
go
your
to your
child.
community.
Listen,
Don't go to your community.
yeah,
Don't be
don't
on.
go out of there. And listen, and some of your village members don't even understand the dialect. They know that they kind of hint on what you're saying, but stay within your tribe because these are people that speak your language. They move like you. They know your movement. They know how to fight. I always tell people, everybody want to be my friend till they have to be my friend. Like people ever look, my little sister said, right. Everybody wants to be your friend until you get in a village of people. I mean, get in a tribe of people, and then you recognize that we are hunters, right? Like
Mhm.
we move when we are ready for the next kill. We know that we gotta move crazy because it requires a crazy move, and only
And you need some
your tribe of
crazy
people do
people
that.
with you. You
Only
need
your tribe
crazy
of people
people with you. You don't need that
do that.
folks. Oh no, you
Yeah,
may not need to do that. You need some bold, crazy people
yeah.
to push you through. And I'm gonna share you this with your story of what you were saying. It triggered something that Oprah had an interview with Michelle Obama, and Michelle was inviting her to come to her house, and Michelle was telling her that she's gonna have 12 friends of her personal 12 friends going to be there, and she could bring some of her friends. Just let her know how many. And Oprah said, I realized I really didn't have a one.
Mm-hmm.
I only, and she said, here is this lady, the president, the first lady to the, for the, you know what I'm trying to say, the first lady. And she said, Michelle has said, I got 12 fish. She said, how do you do that? I just have
Mm-hmm.
bail. And she like, why you just got one? And she said, it was an aha to say, I need to expand my people, my
You
reach.
have to. And you also have to utilize wisdom because sometimes people want you wrapped up in their tribe and that's not your people.
That was something that Mark said too about they
So
may
they're not
not.
your
Oh,
people.
Mark gonna say he said sometimes you get even these people try and they
And they
realize
not even your people. Listen, they can't even fight.
they are spies in the camp.
Absolutely.
They're
Absolutely.
spies in the camp. And you have to recognize a spy.
Yeah, and you have to also recognize that when you want to be in somebody's tribe, you have to you operate in your battle differently. Like some tribes are good with spears, some tribes are good with machetes. Some tribes are good with their hands. Like you want to come over here and fight with us, and we killing people with our hands, and you equipped with a stick. We don't need your stick over here. We doing something crazy and ridiculous, and you try to involve yourself in a tribe that you are not equipped to be in, and so that becomes tiresome and deflating, and it also slows you down and puts you in a vulnerable space to be malnourished, to die prematurely in a tribe, not being fed. And so you have to utilize wisdom when it comes to that. And you also have to be a strong enough person to say, I know that you want to be connected to me in this way, but this is not the time to do that because I'm going through something and I'm navigating through something that you can't even sustain through.
That's not because when you going through, your tribe is cheering you on all the way. They're there the whole time. They look. If you ready to fight, your tribe is there. Say, okay, I don't know why we fight, but we're gonna fight together. Your tribe
Yes.
is there saying, okay, I'm traveling the world. I'm taking a year off. Hey, they're not saying, but you shouldn't bother your 401k. You need to save that. But you're miserable.
Yep.
You
And I'm
try.
gonna tell you something. Every 401k that I done had, I done cashed out, and I ain't scared about it. Like it has really brought me the best life. And you know why I believe? Because I think that some people, really believe in saving, and I think that that's good. That there's nothing wrong with that. But I also believe in experience, and I believe that I get one body, and I'm gonna put as many miles on it as I can. What will never happen to me is the one thing. Many years ago, I heard Miles Monroe say that the cemetery is the most richest place in the world because so many things are buried there. Your dreams, your businesses, like generational wealth, all those things are buried there. And the decision that I made years ago was that I was going to rob the cemetery. Nothing that I had in me will be buried there. Everything that I had in me will be manifested on this side of the world and not buried there. And so that looks like moving crazy and cashing in money and cashing in stocks and being able to hop on a flight and go somewhere and eat people food and drink their liquor and be crazy outside in the public and then come on back and be free to operate without any apology. The problem that we have is that we want to conform so much so into making other people proud making other people comfortable, that you live a life and you die internally, you implode, and you don't even have worth or value in your life because you have not even operated and stretched out in what you are supposed to be doing in the first place. So, for me, if anything, the tool that I would give you is that you have to be certain that you are enough, you are equipped, you are capable, you can walk it out, you are strong, that everything that you need, you have already. All of those transferable skills from other jobs and other situations and heartbreak and grief, all of the things that you have experienced have made you this person. It has made you prime real estate. You're gonna be okay, but you got to walk this thing out, and you cannot be comfortable in being buried shallow.
Woo. Let me tell you
So
something.
yeah,
I love that. I love that. Barrett Shadow.
buried shallow.
I'm not
When
gonna
a
get in
when a
the
breeze comes, you're gonna fall down. You buried shallow. You can't sustain no rain. Like when the wind blow, you falling over and tumbling. You cannot. You have, if you gonna be buried deep. Have deep roots. Be firm on what you believe in, and don't let anybody just come and say, you know what, we're gonna bury you in this little pot. You're not a pot person. You're supposed to be buried in the riches of soil. You need to determine what that looks like for you, and quit allowing somebody to put you in a place that you weren't even designated or designed to be in. So be buried deep. If you're gonna be buried, don't let people play with you in your face and put you wherever they think that you need to be in. You deserve more. You deserve a large territory, and you should walk that thing out.
I want to thank you so very much. I know our audience got so much and so rich information from this. We will have you back in the next couple of months, because I think as we go through these 12 weeks, you can help us come back and say, okay, you've been on your assignment. Now what? I know you ain't where you're supposed to be at. I want to
Right.
also thank Mark so very much, the producer of the show.
Thank you, Mark.
Sure that we are in 200 countries on 6 different platforms every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I am Sharon Campbell, and I'm looking forward to serving you. As they said, we are not going to enrich the graveyard with our knowledge. We are going to live
Absolutely.
it on the earth. Have a fantastic night. Thank you, Zay. I'll see you very soon. Take
Bye-bye.
care. Okay. And as Mark said, we even on Spotify, we have moved up in our heart.
Yay.
And that's a producer for you right there.
Good job, Mark.
Okay, take care. Have a great
All right.
night.
You
Bye
too.
bye.